In this short video, we're going to look at brands and determine what they really are, and also talk about how to build an effective brand. So let's move forward. The topics we're going to cover today are defining what a brand actually is and how brands are built. We'll learn about brand laddering, an effective tool used in building brands, and also Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a famous sociocultural model of human needs at different stages of people's lives and sociocultural, socioeconomic development. Then we'll go through two examples of brand laddering, one for the Apple MacBook and another for Disneyland. After that, we'll talk about brand positioning and what it means for advertising development. What exactly is a brand? Well, there are many definitions, and there's lots of confusion on the part of many people. Even those who are practitioners in the advertising and marketing business differ in their definitions of what a brand really is. Some people think the tagline you see underneath a brand's logo is the brand. That's not the brand. It's just an articulation or summary of the brand. Many people in the industry describe a brand as this: a set of emotional attachments between a product, service, institution, and its key constituencies. Many things can be brands. Certainly many of the products and services we use every day. Also, institutions and companies are brands, and even people can be brands. But to be truly a brand, an effective brand, it has to have an emotional tie to its key constituencies. Note that we're not just saying customers. It's important not only to win over customers, but also attach emotionally to other important constituencies, such as employees, key influencers, and for large corporations, even their shareholders. How are brands built? Every strong brand begins with insights into its consumers and key constituents. This is usually based upon qualitative research and/or quantitative research, which is then analyzed by the account planner at the ad agency. They then come up with a set of conclusions or insights. These insights are then taken as inputs into what many agencies call a brand laddering exercise. From there, an agency comes up with a brand positioning statement, which is like an internal blueprint for the brand. We'll talk a lot about brand positioning statements in the next video. Then, based upon the brand positioning, usually you will write what's called a brand story, which encapsulates the positioning as well as other key messaging points. Brand laddering. A brand ladder is an effective tool that helps us build a brand and its positioning statement. It begins at the bottom of this pyramid, where we list all the important attributes or characteristics of a brand. For a car, it may be horsepower or certain features like acceleration from 0 to 60, or the size of its screen, or its GPS capabilities, or its sound system. But these items are just features or characteristics. They are part of the brand, but they don't define the brand. They are the building blocks for that emotional connection. Then we climb up the ladder or pyramid and transform these features into functional consumer benefits. These are meaningful statements of how these specific characteristics help a consumer or constituent in their life. In the case of a car, do they like these features and attributes because it can make them go fast? Or maybe because they love the ease of GPS and the technology? Or maybe they love the relaxation of cruising with the sound system blasting. It could be those factors or many other things. But the key is that they are functional benefits directly related to the consumption of the product service. And then we go even further to what we call values or emotional benefits. How do these functional benefits based on the attributes make their constituents feel? This is all about personal values. Here we are looking for more universal feelings, not directly product related in most cases. The functional benefits of a brand may make a person feel strong or cool or relaxed among many other emotions or feelings. The key here is to find those values that appeal to a large majority of your customers and constituents that build that connection from there. Maslow's hierarchy. Abraham Maslow was a social psychologist who developed his famous hierarchy of human needs in the mid-20th century. He prioritized human needs based on a person's stage in life, their socioeconomic status, and the specific situation they find themselves at any given time. It starts at the very bottom with physiological needs. People who are homeless or poor are most concerned about basic needs such as food, water, shelter, and warmth, among others. Until those basic needs are met, there's not much thought about the higher level needs. Once you climb a little higher up the ladder, concerns like safety and security become important. You're interested in being gainfully employed so that you can provide for yourself and or your family. You're concerned that you live in a safe place, or perhaps you're concerned that you're secure from internet-related threats. The next rung is about belongingness and love and other related needs such as family relationships, intimate relationships, or being part of a group. On the next rung comes the esteem needs. You want to feel that you're special in some way and also have a certain amount of prestige, at least in certain areas. You want to feel like you've accomplished something. Once these needs are filled, the last and the highest need is self-actualization. Some people never get there. It's basically about becoming the very best possible you, achieving one's full potential, including creative activities and expressing your individuality. Maslow's hierarchy is an effective tool in determining what values may be tapped by certain brands for certain consumers. It's important to note that people can be at different levels of the hierarchy in different situations. For instance, you may be very concerned about your cybersecurity while simultaneously having a need for accomplishment or recognition. Different brands can fill those differing emotional needs or values. Apple MacBook. Okay, let's take a look at a brand ladder for the Apple MacBook. We start at the bottom, asking ourselves what the attributes or characteristics of the brand are. Well, there could be thousands for a computer, but let's look at the most compelling ones. The Apple MacBook gives you state-of-the-art computing capabilities. It also has the Mac OS operating system and easy-to-use apps like iMovie and GarageBand, among others. It has an elegant ergonomic design along with a stellar reputation. We could list thousands of more attributes, but these probably are the most compelling for most users. So how do you translate these pure characteristics into functional benefits? There are probably many ways to express it, but one way that we can express it in this example is that it makes doing my work and life tasks easier and more fun. Okay, so what value or emotional benefits does that tap? Well, in this case, we're pretty high up on the Maslow's hierarchy. We're probably at the esteem and self-actualization levels. One way to express this concept is that it allows me to accomplish tasks that express my individuality and creativity. So that's one example of building from attributes through functional benefits and then emotional benefits or values. So let's look at another example, Disneyland. Let's start at the attribute level again. For this exercise, let's look at the most generic and most compelling attributes. So Disneyland consists of Frontierland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, Adventureland, as well as some other interesting attractions. It has state-of-the-art rides, experiences, and amusements, in addition to lots of entertainment options for the family. And let's not forget Mickey and Minnie and Donald Duck and Goofy and the whole gang of characters all roaming around the park. So what's the functional benefit of all those attributes and characteristics? Again, there's many ways to say it, but in this case, let's express it as a fun place for families and friends to spend a vacation. What values or emotional benefits does this functional benefit tap? It's very strong on the belongingness level of the hierarchy. It's all about families and friends bonding and shared experiences. So those are two examples of building brand ladders for two well-known brands. Brand equity. So you may ask what all this has to do with advertising. Well, it has a lot to do with advertising because every message a brand puts out either adds or subtracts from the overall brand equity or brand image. Think of it like a bank account. If you develop advertising which is consistent with the brand positioning and values, that's like making a deposit. Your brand equity or the perception of the brand's image will grow. If you run advertising that's not consistent with the brand positioning and values, it's like a withdrawal from the bank, and your brand equity or brand perception drops. So it's really important that any advertising a brand develops is consistent with the brand positioning. Coming up in the next video, we're going to learn how a brand ladder can be transformed into a brand positioning statement. Then from that brand positioning statement, which is an eternal document the consumer or the constituents never see, think of it as a blueprint for the brand. We developed a brand story, and from the brand story we developed messaging strategies, and then from there we develop actual advertising.